your channel.
Okay, do it! Do it for... Oh my God. I'm Gary, and this is Coasting with Culture, which is all about combining theme park visits and riding roller coasters with various cultural experiences around the world. After returning to Knoebels for the first time in nearly 18 years, and joining fellow buzz bars in Philadelphia for a brewery and a night of live jazz, the time has come for the main event of the weekend with a day at Dorney Park, offering a chance to try the park's newest coaster with a bit of exclusive ride time and a chance to visit another area brewery. As our day was slated to begin ahead of park opening, many buzz bars began to line up outside of the main parking lot gate.
Damn, everybody's rolling up here!
While waiting for them to allow the cars in, there was some breakfast sandwiches and donuts to be enjoyed. But there would be a rush back to the cars as they opened up the gates, and the pre-Wobble tailgate continued after parking. While there was a lot of anticipation for trying out the park's brand new screen machine, we had exclusive ride time first on Steel Force. Much like how Mamba had eased off of the mid-course breaks the year before, Steel Force did as well, and those who rode before the event said it made a huge difference, which I had to agree. It was riding incredibly well, and I think it made a case to be within the top 3 of Morgan Hyper coasters. Upon the end of our private group ride session, the park opened up and gave us a chance to check out their newest thrill machine, Iron Menace, a smaller version B&M dive coaster themed after Pennsylvania's steel industry. While the ride isn't as tall as other dive coasters, its placement helps enhance the feeling of it towering over the area, especially with some of the larger elements in its out and back layout. A fun ride that gave the park a solid addition to its lineup after a fairly long wait for a brand new coaster. Their flying buckets were given a new look and name of MT Buckets to fit in with the steel mill theme of its new neighbor, and was a natural choice for a follow-up ride for many buzz bars after checking out the new dive machine. This then led to many taking an opportunity to enjoy another classic ride at the park, Thunderhawk, their wooden coaster that happened to be hitting a big milestone as it was the ride's 100th anniversary after opening in 1924. The park had special signage for the occasion, and they recently replaced the trains with new ones from the Philadelphia Toboggan Company. It's not often that you get to ride a 100-year-old coaster, but I appreciate the park's efforts to keep this piece of coaster history around. There came a point where a lot of Buzz Bar members made their way over to what had previously been the last brand new coaster brought to the park, the B&M Floorless Coaster Hydra, which unfortunately was one of the rides I'd have to pass on due to being a bit too big. But others would enjoy its leisurely JoJo roll out of the station and one of the most compact layouts that you'll find for the model. The reason so many Buzz Bars came to this ride when they did? Well, it happens to be right next to the picnic pavilion where lunch was served. Barbecue sandwiches and meatball subs highlighted the menu for this one, and they also had a cash bar where we could try the Iron Menace Lager, a collaboration between the park and Lehigh Valley's own Funk Brewing. And it was a pretty solid beer, if I may say so myself. As lunch ended, a number of folks made their way to
Dorney Park,
which I unfortunately wasn't able to ride, but if anyone can tell you about
Dorney Park,
it might be Jen.
Talon at Dorney Park is one of the most underrated B&M inverts. It has the perfect mix of positives and negatives. We have really graceful turns, some close to the ground intense movement, as well as little pops of airtime that you don't really get on any other invert. It makes it this very beautiful mix of elements that you can't find anywhere else.
Somehow I wasn't aware of this, but Dorney Park was one of the few parks to still operate an old-style whip ride from the W.F. Mangles Company out of Coney Island, New York, which is certainly not as crazy as more modern rides out there, but it absolutely offers a fun trip back in time. Going into the afternoon, a bunch of buzz bars took a break from the park for another one of the club's legendary tailgating sessions. And while enjoying a variety of beverages is certainly to be expected, there was a different sort of consumption that occurred as well.
Kyrie's about to chug some chili.
As a result of a lost bet, Mullet brought a can of Skyline Chili from Cincinnati for Kyrie to, let's call it, attempt to chug. You'll see why.
There's no speed to chug.
Gary.
Right? Yeah.
Gary, if this you vomit, you're just thinking it's off your channel.
Okay, do it! Do it for Patrick Ewing! Do it for Derek Jeter!
Someone give him a napkin. If you don't do it right now, the Knicks are going to lose tomorrow.
Do it for Vinny Testaverde! Yeah!
Oh, that's gnarly. That is gnarly. What would Josh Hart do? That's pretty funny. Throw it up! Throw it up! Oh, that's nasty.
Sometimes a Buzz Bar's tailgate will lead to the unexpected, but you can count on getting to hang out with some quality people. After the tailgate, there were a couple more hours to enjoy before the park closed for the day, which meant taking advantage of some relatively short lines for more laps on Steel Force, Iron Menace, and
Talon at Dorney Park?
When engaged in filmography at a Buzz Bars event, sometimes you gotta go for the creative angles like this one.
But the night wasn't over with the park, because there was another brewery to visit as the crew met up at the nearby Imprint Brewing, offering a variety of beers, cocktails, their in-house made pizza, and an arcade for challenging friends to a friendly competition. Certainly a great way to end the evening before folks would continue on to various locations the following day. While I originally had plans to hit Dutch Wonderland, some local attractions of Lancaster, and take another stab at Oscar's Wacky Taxi before heading home, the flights I originally planned were quite full, and so sticking to those plans would mean likely missing the next day at work, which I wasn't really in a good spot to do. So there was certainly some FOMO on my part while others got to visit Dutch Wonderland, and there was confirmation that Oscar did in fact open.
A little bit of a bummer that my plans for this trip didn't fully pan out, especially for the last day, but give me plenty of reason, though, to make a return in the future.
The new routing would have me on this early flight to Salt Lake City, then connecting to Portland, and a quick hop home to Seattle. As we settled into cruising altitude, I took the time to watch a film related to one of the most famous sports stories from my hometown, which we occasionally discuss on the city tour I help run. One thing's for sure though, it wasn't nearly as scenic as the view we had coming into the Great Salt Lake below. I had seen it from the ground before, but this was the first time watching it pass by from above. This Utah layover would be under an hour, making it just long enough to hit the restroom and grab a quick bite before boarding for that middle flight. And just as the Great Salt Lake greeted my last flight, it was in view to wish us farewell on our way to Oregon. It was a bit cloudier as we approached the Rose City, but when we broke through them, it was neat to see the Columbia River, which separates Oregon from my home state in Washington, but I'd have to wait a bit before I could get over there. With a bit of a longer layover, I took a stroll around Old PDX, which was in the midst of a sizable renovation project. And I really enjoyed the unique artwork of the airport, including this fascinating depiction of the animals of the Chinese zodiac by Shohei Takasaki, which was done to symbolize just how interconnected all of humankind is, since the animals represent different people based on their birth year. As I still had time to burn, I decided to take advantage of my priority pass at Capers Market, as I could use the restaurant credit to enjoy a couple of beers, including an excellent Hefeweizen called Fuzztail from Oregon's own Sun River Brewing, and a nice pale ale from Astoria's Bowie Beer Company. A nice end to the layover before the quick final flight home. Although it might not have been exactly how I wanted the last day of my weekend to go, it was yet again another excellent weekend with the Buzz Bars crew as we wobbled on that JAWN. From brewery visits and a little bit of jazz to some coaster riding fun at Dorney Park. I also enjoyed getting some extra time with Doug and Sean at Knoebels before the start of the festivities for the weekend. A special thank you to the event and leadership teams of Buzz Bars for putting this one together, and I'm really glad the stars aligned to be able to make it, as it wasn't originally on my radar, but was absolutely worth making. Don't forget that if you'd like to find out more about the club, head over to the Buzz Bars website at buzzbars.com for more information and to sign up, and you can also scoot over to the Buzz Bars Coaster Club YouTube channel to see more of what you can expect when tagging along with this awesome crew. Thank you all for joining me for this look back at Wobble on that JAWN. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time as it's back to Pennsylvania, but over in the western half of the state for an event led by the ladies of Buzz Bars here on Coasting with Culture. Thank you for watching this video from Coasting with Culture. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and click on the subscribe button to see future videos here on YouTube, like these ones which you may enjoy as well. Additional content can be found at coastingwithculture.com, and you can also follow Coasting with Culture on various social media channels at CoastWCulture for announcements, previews, and updates. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care and safe travels.